Hello and welcome to Patreon. My name is Vetshovat and today we are going to cover the game menus, options and features that this game offers. Aim of this guide is to help all beginner players to familiarize with the tools so that you can easily utilize all the things from the very start. We're gonna start this guide with the simplest tool, and that is the control here on the bottom middle part, which are designed to control the speed of the game. With these options, you can have game speed at 1, 2, 5 or 10 multiplier and arrows left and right, which you use to increase or decrease it. You can also change the speed by pressing 1, 2, 3 or 4 keys to directly specify the speed modifier. Of course, there is a pause button by clicking middle button or pressing the space bar, and probably this will be most used across the game. After simplest control, we're gonna cover now the biggest part and most options that you can click on this screen, which is the building menu. We're gonna break down each category here and explain a bit more what each one has to offer. Keep in mind the fact that some buildings have efficiency bonuses when placing it, but for this subject I will dedicate a new tutorial to cover it. Housing menu is reserved only for buildings rated to residential purposes. Shelters is the only building that can have multiple families in it, should be used only as a temporary solution for housing or preventing the families to have more offspring. All other houses which have families will have kids and continue your settlement to grow, except from the shelters. Difference between wood house and brick mansion and everything in between is the size of the household. It is stated that brick mansion are preferred residential choice for the gentry and the merchants, but at this point I cannot confirm since it is very new addition to the game. Town buildings is next on the menu, and here we can see now the different purposes of the building. By type and effect we can break it down into trading, happiness, religion, safety, health, education, income and vanity. To name a few, we have docks, which is your first go-to when you want to import and export goods, and very vital thing to have as early as possible. For happiness, you have wells and inns, which will increase the happiness in the radius of that building, and by clicking on it you can see its radius. Religion, safety, health and education works in the same manner as happiness buildings, and each one also have radius of effect. There are also guild houses, which are the one of the few buildings that don't require any upkeep or upgrade, and also will gain you some coins for each member of its class associated with that building. Lastly, we have vanity building, which are patrons' mansion and villa, which are there just to show off with no obvious effect. Here on the far menu we have three types of buildings: crops, orchards and ranches. All building types first needs to be placed, and after building it then you decide which subtype will be chosen for that particular building. Once you unlock farm menu, you have at least one default option. Everything else from subtypes is unlocked through research and some from events, like potatoes. Maximum size for crops is 12 by 12, for orchards and ranch is 20 by 20, and of course, the bigger you have it, the bigger will be the upkeep and production out of it. Production menu is the largest one, and these buildings are responsible for producing all products. This includes the basic product like lumber, coal, iron, to the last in the chain like jewelry, bread or drinks. Most of the buildings here have some effect, and a lot of them are boosted by some bonuses, so make sure to read research tree, read items and decrease thoroughly so you know what to expect. Beside that, there are storage buildings like depots, warehouses and large warehouses. More information about production will be covered in a different tutorial. Beautification menu is reserved for buildings that is going to increase happiness around, and there are some that are only for decoration. Keep in mind this fact and always leave some space for these buildings, since in the grand scheme it can help a lot with overall happiness of your residents if placed properly. Roads and bridges menu are reserved for items related to exactly that. Dirt roads should be used only until you get stone roads unlocked, and for the bridge, wooden one is fine, but when you have the stone one, just use that. For the bridges, when you are building it, always go to the build grid view so that you can know exactly from which point you can start and where to finish it. It is not that obvious as you might think. Road signs are extremely important. Spam this item all across the map. Check radius and make sure that each road have enough signs so that your settlers can move faster. Lastly, we have a menu related to gathering resources and demolishing things. For the resources, you have options to gather them all with single selection or gather a specific one that you need from the ground. You have X on the end, which is used to cancel any gathering task that you select. Demolishing structures can only be done through one item, which also includes started but not finished buildings. For the overview menu, we're gonna shift focus now to the upper right corner and see what we have here. All options in this section can be also accessed through the hotkeys, and since some you will need to open often, it is good to remember few of those. Even if you forget, you can hover over any item here and it will show you the hotkey in a tooltip. Status window is probably one of the most useful condensed information on one place. My suggestion is that this window remains open at all time. On this overlay you can see almost every product and information breakdown, and when you hover over each item you can have additional information in it like production and needs stats. However, I strongly suggest to not rely on these numbers. Have always a rough idea what number should be there and monitor always this overlay, since you can get in trouble if you lack some particular products. So monitor this overlay all the time, get familiar with it and use this information to your needs. Jobs board is one of the menus that you will probably access very often, especially on the beginning and until mid-game. This overlay is designated to control and globally allocate number of workers that are associated with each of available professions. Always tend to have maximum workers for each profession and only expand that profession when you need to increase that particular branch. Also, make sure that you always have enough free workers, which is located on top of the list, since you rely on these workers heavily, and if it gets below optimum number, you'll get notification instantly. On this overlay, you have access to all items that are researchable in form of tree. So, if you want to unlock something down the line, make sure that you research everything before that. There are three types of research: building, which is blue, decrees, which are green, and bonuses, which are red. Make sure to read carefully red ones and green ones, since it can have a huge impact on your production and overall status. Town Hall is next item on the menu, and here you can enact different decrees that can shape up your settlement a lot. Choose these items carefully and use the ones that you actually need to boost that particular area of need. Beside that, you have two options: options and details, which will show you overall effect that all current things have on all settlers, and on details, which is actually the output of each enacted decree. More upgrades you have to your town hall, more influence points you will gain for each level of upgrade. Additional panels can provide you with a lot of global statistics, information related to settlers, and various data that you can extract from it. Some are more useful than others, but it is up to every player how much you will use this section here. Annual overlay is open beneath the status overlay, and it shows you all the events related to residents of your settlement. It will show you when people are married, when someone is born, or someone dies. In the beginning of the game, it could be useful to track this information, but as soon as your settlement reaches some level, this is just going to be a wall of text. Here is one of the menu items that you will most definitely access a lot during this game. You can also access this overlay by clicking on any storage building that you have. This overlay will show you quantity of each resource that you currently have, and for each resource you have a history data of total amount that you have. Also, it can show you how much you produce and what was spent, also through entire history, and there is also an option to show you how much you sold and bought. Beside that, you can set a cap for each individual product, but I advise not to do that since it will essentially just pause the production of that item. Better solution is just to export if it is a final product or increase the production which uses that product for upkeep. Important feature here is a lock mechanism, which can prevent your settlers to use it in a day-to-day life and only use it for production. This option is extremely important and you will probably use it for products like wheat, plums, cherries, etc. On top of the overlay, you also have capacity of all storages, so make sure not to overflow it and lose resource due to that. Residence menu is purely for statistical purposes. I will not get into detail and leave you to find out what is all available there. It is good for tracking. It can show you current state, historical states, and various things related to your residence. Whoever likes this kind of menu and data will check it out thoroughly even without any explanation of each item. Buildings menu is one of the additions to the game that was introduced after the release, and it can be very useful. On this menu, you will have overview of all of your buildings divided into 3 tabs, which are production, town, and houses. For each tab, you have overview of all of that sort, and you can click on each individual subtype to see information related to that. This menu is extremely important in the mid and late game, since it can show you very easily which buildings are not fully upgraded or uses enough. So check this menu from time to time and make sure that all your buildings are up to the state that you want them to be. In the view menu, we have minimap, which is also accessible by pressing the key M, and it will show or hide your minimap in the bottom left corner of the screen. We have grids, which are also available by clicking G key to toggle between different grids like build grid, fertility soil, and richness grids, which should be used often in this game. There is also toggle for showing or hiding trees, and this is also available through the hotkey T. Here you have 2 options: to quickly save the game, which also has a hotkey F1, and open the main menu, which is also available by pressing hotkey Escape. Beside all options that we covered so far, we're gonna talk about docks a bit more, since it also provides a unique menu and some additional options. To break down functionality, you have manual and automatic trade, which was introduced in the last version of the game. On the Buy Sell tab, you can see the list of all products that could be available at this point in game, quantity and fee that you're gonna pay for that trade. You can type manually amount that you want, holding the control key and clicking the arrow will increase it by 20, and holding the shift key will set that to maximum. Quantity of trade is based on the upgraded level for each of dock building. Trade deals are automatic way to obtain and sell specific amount that you select for the products that you choose over time. Keep in mind that each dock has its own unique overlay, and each either manual or automatic trade is only executed from that particular building that you selected. To mention a few, which could be also useful to know from the start beside zooming in and out with mouse scroller, let's mention a few more. Hotkeys Q and A are used to shift building rotation to left and right, and hotkey R to rotate in one direction, while hotkey B is used to change the model of that building if available, of course. Hotkey F8 can be used to enter the photo mode, and inside that you will use WSAD command and use the mouse to define direction. Well, check it out. With this information presented today, along with tutorials, hints present in the game, you should be able to tag all the game mechanics, options and features available in the game. Probably some of the information over time will be outdated due to phenomenal work and constant upgrades of the game. So make sure to check a link to the guide on Steam, where I will try to update all information related to this topic. If you want a tutorial on how to properly plan and build your settlement, check out my tutorial in links in description. Also, as always, if you have any questions or doubts, visit Patreon's Discord server, ask what is bothering you, and someone will always help you and support you. This is the conclusion of this tutorial. Hope it will help you enough, and if you like it, well, please be kind to give a like and subscribe so that you can help me in return to grow this channel. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, have a magnificent day and bye bye. Yeah!